This one should be a barn burner. This should be the one that definitely you guys should be tuning in to the WWE Network. This is the one you should be calling up your local cable company and doing whatever you have to do to get this show. I know that they plugged it 1,000 times, but this match to me honestly should be worth $9.99. Dean Ambrose going up against Seth Rollins. I'd be lying if I was let's just go through the whole story. Basically, with the breakup at the Shield, it was supposed to be built up as the first time you saw these guys go at it one-on-one after seeing them fight it out in the Money in the Bank, where that whole story was Dean Ambrose's whole spot in that match was just basically to make sure that Seth Rollins didn't win, and basically after being taken out with the chair and basically just ripping his shoulder apart, Seth Rollins was still able to pull out the victory. Dean Ambrose turned his attentions to where if Seth Rollins was going to have the Money in the Bank briefcase, he was going to do everything to make sure that he wasn't able to cash in that thing. He was going to make sure that Seth Rollins wasn't going to leave the Shield and then go on and become Triple H's new WWE champion as the whole Plan B went along. At Battleground, Triple H had made it known that he was going to make sure Seth Rollins cashed in that briefcase and won if the plan didn't come into effect and either Kane or Randy Orton won the Fatal 4-Way. Basically, they had a match that was supposed to go down. Dean Ambrose attacked Seth Rollins in the back, and because of this, Triple H was so disgusted that he used this as sort of a reason to throw him out of the arena. And for there, we saw Dean Ambrose sneak up and attack Seth Rollins twice. After that fact, once when he actually got into the arena, got all the way down to the ring and started a brawl down there, for him to only be thrown out again, and Seth Rollins to be leaving the arena, even though he was Plan B, even though the fact that maybe things wouldn't go down and either Roman Reigns or John Cena was going to win the championship, Seth Rollins was going to be leaving, which doesn't really make sense with the plan that's going down. But he was attacked again in the parking lot by Dean Ambrose before he finally got into his rental car, sped off, and left us. And I remember at that point feeling sort of let down, like, damn it, this was going to be an awesome match and we don't get it. And then almost I was like, damn, if it didn't happen on Battleground, it's going to happen for me now at SummerSlam. And I'm happy that I get to see it for the first time. But now that it's been a month down the road, I feel bad for the people at Battleground. I'm sure that a lot of people went to that show hoping to get a good one, and there was one of the featured matches not even really happening. I know that they got to see the brawl down there at ringside, but it's not the same as getting a match. And now they did the whole Beat the Clock challenge on Monday Night Raw that backfired on the Authority once again. We're now Dean Ambrose gets to pick what the stipulation of this match is going to be. And on SmackDown this week, he's going to pick that it's going to be a lumberjack match. And honestly, in my opinion, that's one of the weakest stipulations that he could have picked. I know that it makes sense with the storyline, basically, that Ambrose wants to make sure Seth Rollins can't run away from him for a third time. And that basically the match that's going to happen, that's going to be there. But the only thing I can think of from here is like, that's some in-your-house bullshit from back in the 90s. I know that you guys with the WWE Network have been going back and watching those old shows. And, that's a Monday Night Raw main event, putting the guys around the ring. But I'm hoping that what they're not going to do is have Triple H sort of say that the Authority is going to be the lumberjacks on the outside of the ring. That, Dean Ambrose got to name what the stipulation was going to be. But from here on out, it's up to the game to put those guys out there. And then you get to see Kane, Randy Orton, all of the heels of superstars and Monday Night Raw and SmackDown that aren't used on this show. And hopefully we will get to see some baby faces out there to support the match. Maybe even put this one on first in a hot spot, and then maybe you can turn it into Ziggler and Miz having almost a match on the outside, fighting out before they get kicked to the back, and sort of send fire down the card on everybody being out there and they're really fighting each other. But then again, you might take away from the match that's actually going on inside the ring. If you go back in time, even though it's in a different place, TNA, this match sort of is falling apart, not falling apart, that was bad save words, but basically, if you go to the breakup of Beer Money, basically Robert Roode won the Bound for Glory series. He wasn't able to win the title from Kurt Angle on the first episode of Impact after Bound for Glory. James Storm stepped up to the plate. He won the TNA Championship in a championship match. In his first act as champion, he let his tag team partner have a chance at the title because they were friends and he wanted to be a fighting champion. Robert Roode grabbed a beer bottle, cracked him upside the head, and James Storm lost the title, and we didn't get to see him have a rematch for months and months. And I know that this has only been a month that it's sort of put on the back burner. And we've seen Ambrose try to attack Rollins. We've seen, Triple H send Ambrose on a trip, promoting the company, promoting SummerSlam, basically to the point of, he wouldn't be on Monday Night Raw, and then we would be able to see Seth Rollins in action or have a chance to maybe cash that thing in because his job pulled him away from being at the arena that night. But, I'm hoping that it hasn't cooled off. Basically, the Shield was one of the biggest things in WWE for their whole stretch. They always seemed to be in that main event spot. They never really fell off from where they were. They were always those people that no matter who the champion was, you were always thinking they were going to be somewhere involved in what they were doing. And one of their babyface runs where they went up against Evolution was one of the best things they ever did. So they really did end on a high note when they broke up. It was one of those really things that everybody was looking forward to seeing it happen. But then when it happened, whoa! We didn't want that, but these guys are gonna duke it out. Even if it is a lumberjack match, I can see that maybe I'd pick Seth Rollins to get the win in this match. Maybe you go to Night of Champions and you have Ambrose get a win there, and then hopefully it all pays off in the end with these guys getting in the Hell in the Cell. I know that like last year they only used the Cell for the main event match, but this definitely is one of those matches with everything with the Shield behind it. It definitely could put Rollins. It definitely could put Ambrose in the right direction for where they're going. Ambrose having the Money in the Bank briefcase. I don't see him as one of those guys that's going to fail at cashing it in. Of course, the last 2 years we've seen John Cena and we've seen Drew McIntyre. Fuck me. Sandow. We've seen Damian Sandow not being able to cash that thing in. So I think they want that briefcase to be one of the hottest things. I definitely see them using that later on in the year, November, December, when WWE starts to dip down, and that's one thing they can do to sort of spike up what's going on with them teasing that deal. So definitely I'm thinking that it's going to be around for a good amount of time. So I'm going to take Rollins to win this match, but definitely to me in my mind, even though this is a lumberjack match, I want to see some fighting, boy. Let's get this on, the Battle of the Shield.